Standing by your side with my heart on high drive. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart on high drive. We do what we want, but we're not free. With our hearts on hyperdrive.
Eat the rest of you later.
Can you hear us yet, Jerome?
I can hear you, and let me go ahead and kill the music. Ta-da! We are now live. So about 10 minutes early, but that's okay. Everything came together a lot faster than we anticipated. I'm also noticing that when I post on social media about like the game going live and whatnot, it's not uncommon for somebody to go like, "Oh my God, Ashland!" And I guess Ashland is a very popular city name in several different states. So I get like, is it Ashland here? Is it Ashland, Texas? Is it Ashland, like wherever? Like, no. It's over in Oregon. Well, this guy who just posted in one of the vampire groups actually knows of the Ashland that's in Oregon. And that was the first time. So that was kind of interesting.
Nice.
Sorry about that. Got to get a drink of water.
Just
So
have the game go to every Ashland.
Yeah.
Don't ever specify. Pick the most, like, generic city names.
We'll be like Springfield.
Yeah. Well, to top it off, I used to live in a town called San Jacinto in California. And when we were going through U.S. history, specifically like the Old West and whatnot, they would mention San Jacinto, but it was the San Jacinto that was over in Texas. And so it was confusing to us, that we had that kind of back and forth, like, oh, hey, kind of a little bit of a laugh. Then there was another town that get brought up too, and it's Beaumont. And Beaumont is actually just up the freeway a bit from San Jacinto in California, but there's also a Beaumont in Texas as well. So use those interesting trivia facts to start the day off. So I hope everybody is good. Keep in mind, if you are texting in the chat, we'll hear it online. We'll hear the chimes and whatnot. So
Sorry.
That's okay.
I had a very inappropriate thought I wasn't going to say out loud. So
Yeah, no worries. So thank you for joining us. We are back with our first game of July, oddly enough. So we were in the process. We did some XP. We did a little bit of kind of chattering about game, but we still need to roll for XP, or we had spins, I should say. But we have some XP we need to roll. So we don't have any birthdays this month, do we? I don't think so. Okay. So then who wants to roll for the monthly XP?
What is that, a D4?
A D4 plus 1.
Mm-hmm. It's got a D4 handy.
I'll go for it. Roll. 3. Oh, plus 1. 4.
All right, 4 total. Cool.
Okay.
That works. So last we left off with the previous game, it was more of just a catch up. Everybody was just kind of getting caught back up where everybody was, finding out that Sophie was missing again, and that George had run into a very scary elder who probably saw him as KFC.
Yeah, not just me, Remus too.
Yeah.
Oh, George had a good question while you were muting us.
Oh, what's up?
Oh, just real quick, like, is it possible for us at the levels we're at to like increase our disciplines past 5, or do we need to be like of a certain generation in order to do that?
You do have to be of a higher generation. In order to get anything above a 5, you need to be 7th generation.
Oh,
Okay.
so
Oh.
Diablerie.
So close.
Yep.
So close yet so far.
I'm sorry, was I running a Sabat game?
He's the dude who makes human leather journals.
Yeah, there's definitely some questionable aspects
How to
of
make those.
there's definitely some questionable aspects of this particular quote unquote anarch group. You're a little bit seedier, I think, than what many anarchs might be used to. Let's see, Sophie, I think, has diablerized, and I know Damaris has
That was an
diablerized.
An accident.
That's right. That's right. You slipped and fell with your fangs forward.
I sure did. Twice.
Nice.
Yep. Then we've got the guy who makes leather goods out of human skin. I mean,
So what you're saying is Remus is the only normal one.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say normal because he's he's a hobo. But he's definitely the most humane, and
Probably.
and that's definitely saying something.
I don't know if Trudy has ever diabolized.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask her.
Sorry about that.
Given your sire, probably not.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since she's been around him.
Well, yeah.
He's dead now, but
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, she did have a decent upbringing.
Yeah, had a decent upbringing. That sinful life of diablerie.
Jerome, I got a question about Cloak the Gathering.
Sure.
Everywhere I've looked, it just talks about how it covers an area, but it's not specific about what the area is. I mean, I would assume it's not like Harry Potter where we all have to huddle around me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so like it talks about like if I want to take a group into some place,
Mm-hmm.
so the area, I just don't know how large. I know it's based upon the number of people is affected, or the number of dots I have in obfuscate. So, but I don't know how big that area is. Like, how far away from me can they walk before it disrupts it for them?
It should be within your immediate vicinity, but some of the things have changed in V20. So let me double check.
Okay. Yeah, and everywhere I've looked, I can't find it. It just says an area. And I'm sure my character knows.
Yeah, so it says upon those nearby as well as upon himself. So it would be like your immediate vicinity. So while they don't have to huddle around you, realistically speaking, they should be someplace nearby.
Could we go into a room like a party, like so if we all walked in and it's like, I'm just trying to get like dimensions so that I could tell them don't wander more than 20 feet away from me. Make sure you can always see me, that kind of thing. Like give directions like that to them. That way they know if they go around a corner, I can't see them, they can't see me, and they're technically in another room, so that's a different area. You know what I mean? So that's so giving something specific to them as a direction is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it doesn't really say. I would say if we're getting nitpicky about it, the two things I would be most concerned with is one, since it's based upon your mental acumen, you're basically making people believe that they're not really there. You're going to have to maintain eyesight on them, which obviously isn't going to be too difficult, even if you're in a crowded room. The other thing that I would say is probably within arm's length. So if you both go out like this, fingertip to fingertip sort of thing, it's probably about as far as you can go. You don't have to be huddled directly around them, but that to me is enough. Otherwise, one of my problems with Obfuscate has always been, what's the way to put this? I like the fact that it allows you to hide, but I don't like the fact that it causes you, at least the way some people try to run it, causes you to make illogical movements if you don't see them. For example, one of the things that pops up is that, and this is good that we're discussing this. So with Obfuscate, one of the things that pops up is if you're trying to walk through a door and somebody's standing in that doorway in Obfuscate, some people run it that, oh, well, you're not going to walk through them because Obfuscate is there and you're not allowed to just walk through them. You have to try and find another way around. If you're looking at the doorway and there's quote unquote nothing in the doorway, you're going to walk through the doorway. If you're dumb enough to stand there with Obfuscate and stay hidden, they're going to bump you. It's going to fail. But I keep running into people that are under the impression that sort of thing's not going to happen. So like if I'm walking a straight line through a room and some guy doesn't move, same premise, right? Some guy, is hidden and he doesn't move, same thing's going to happen. You don't realize that they're there. It's not that you're going to go walking along and then go, oh, I need to make a quick right or left for no apparent reason and then continue forward. That would just seem painfully obvious. You know what I mean? That right. something is amiss.
Yeah, I've always run Obfuscate, so like I kind of stay the perimeter of the room. If I'm doing like unseen, I walk the perimeter of the room, so I'm out of the way of people.
Yeah,
I don't walk, so that way I'm not in the way, and then
right.
And then I've even like some people have used it to the point where like if there's a guard standing in the doorway and I have Obfuscate, if I walk to the guard's going to move out of the way to allow me to pass through that doorway. It doesn't work that way.
Right. No. Exactly.
It's not like some unseen barrier forcing the person out of the way.
Either. Right. Exactly. That's the same premise. The other thing that makes Obfuscate fail is the interaction with the environment. So if you walk up to a door, turn the doorknob and open it, and you're not there, it's going to automatically fail. There's no reason why the door should just open by itself. So that's why I'm saying, there's a lot of practical purposes when in my games that I run with Obfuscate. It's still very, very helpful, very handy. I don't like these game-breaking mechanics that some people try to put into the game where weird things happen like that. Like, say, for example, if you are in a room and the fire alarms go off and sprinkler systems go down, you're now interacting with the environment. I'm supposed to believe that water is not suddenly parting right there, that there's this predator image or something goofy, for no reason in the middle. Just when that sort of thing happens, it happens. There's certain things that will cause that to fail.
But now another thing, could I scribble a note and when people aren't paying attention, take that note and place it on a table and then back away from it? So that somebody could not all of a sudden it's not like the note appeared. Mm-hmm. It's just that I turn around. It wasn't. You come back. It's like where'd that note come from? That kind of thing. So it's not
I would if since that's not as obvious, I would make you make another check to maintain your Obfuscate.
Kind of like a performance kind of thing or manipulation kind of thing. I'm trying to okay.
Which is one of the reasons why when people are which is very common, especially when you're dealing with like the Sabbat's Black Hand, where a lot of people may have Obfuscate or they may have Cloak the Gathering, because if you speak, you're going to break that Obfuscate. But what they'll do is they'll learn American Sign Language and they'll sign to one another, so they don't break Obfuscate. So they can still communicate.
Language of
yep. So they
get another dot in linguistics then.
Exactly, which is one of those not spoken of a whole lot sort of things that I find that more experienced Nosferatu players, when they're working with other people that have got obfuscate to some degree, they'll just instinctively take, just because it works. It's a good way to communicate and not break that barrier and be extra sneaky.
That's fantastic. I never thought of that. That's awesome.
Yep. It was awesome. It really was. It worked so well.
Oh yeah, there's
I really do wish more people knew about it.
there's been some pretty hellacious fights that I've run in the old Sabat LARP, where a group of Assamite and Nosferatu, both with high obfuscate, are just communicating to one another, and the next thing you know, everything goes silent. Completely silent, because the silence of death has been dropped by the Assamite, and it's just nothing but blood, gut, spit and ass from there on out. It's because you've got high potence, you've got high celerity, you've got attacks at advantage because people don't know it's coming. It's just it's a gross way to make a hellacious first attack.
That's awesome.
But any other game questions?
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So, Hesperia, then, since you are the Baron, I will kind of let you kick this off. Like, how are you trying to organize things for tonight, now that you've gotten some updated info?
Yeah, I mean, clearly plans have changed, so I'm gonna shoot a text to everyone. I've got everybody in a friends group at this point. And we've, at this point, hopefully set Remus up with a burner phone.
Yes,
I would assume.
Remus has a burner phone.
I'm going to ask everybody to meet me at the Elysium. We need to have a discussion.
Okay.
XOXO.
Hugs and kisses.
I'm assuming this is first thing in the evening.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably, we'll say it's about 8 p.m. at this point.
So we're down 1 for the night and 1 for our goals.
Yes. And 1 for any feeding restriction you might have.
Well, we only do the ghoul thing once a month.
Right.
Oh.
This is a new month.
So.
It's a new month.
Again?
Yes. Well, the last game we played was actually the first game back, but it was at the end of June.
I know. Okay. I was just looking forward to having blood again. I'm going to take my dinner to go. Because I'm at my house and I have food there.
Yes, you are.
And I guess I'll tell my assistant to bring the car around.
Okay. Right away, ma'am. And he, bolts out to get the car ready and get his gear and escort you to the Elysium.
I'm gonna bring some blood for the road because I'm hungry.
Okay. So you're just going to be sucking it from bags, or by bringing?
I have a bottle.
But okay.
I'm a civilized person.
Sure. I wasn't sure if you were just bringing the people or you were,
No.
bringing a container.
The container.
Freeze-throwing.
She's got a hydro flask. It's got it's all bejeweled and
With rhinestone, though. She's country, so it's got to
You're
be.
mistaking me for Sophie. The Sophie person that I've never met. No, just kidding. I saw her. I just didn't talk to her. She was comatose. That was a bad night for her.
Was there any other prep that anybody else was doing prior to showing up at the Elysium tonight?
My property is near like a forested area, so I would probably I'm not opposed to hunting like an animal to feed off of. So I would just go
Do you have
No.
animalism?
I don't.
Okay. It will be difficult to do, not impossible, but difficult. So rather than make you role play everything out, why don't you go ahead and give me a survival and wits check.
Okay. That works. One success.
Okay. So right at the last minute when you were about to just give up completely, you managed to find a field mouse. That was
And I get
like you just turned around and you were disgusted, about ready to give up, and you saw it scurrying up a tree at like the last minute, and you just grabbed it real quick, with a jerk motion of your hand. So it's enough to give you a point.
Really? Nice. I thought that was
A little
way
bit
too
helps.
Yeah, haven't you played Vampire the Masquerade Redemption?
No.
No.
You should. It's a regular way to feed in that game. You'll see
Okay.
you'll see rats running around on the ground, and then when you bite, you hear like a biting sound, like a scrunch, and then a little bit of a squeak.
They do that in Bloodlines too.
I can't remember if they did or not, but it would make sense if they did.
The character I started was a Ventru, and she couldn't eat the rats.
Oh, right. Yep. Because you can only feed from one type of target.
All right, well,
They were the high quality ones.
Robert and I will take our van and come, the camper van, and meet everyone.
Okay. Any sort of last minute prep that either Damaris or Remus is doing?
I mean, just making sure Adam is content with whatever Adam is doing. He's got food,
Kyrene,
he's got takeout from before.
Kyrene is down here too. At this point,
Oh, she is? Okay.
Yes, yeah. Once she realized that Adam is awake, she has made her way down here and has been finding arrangements to stay for the time being to help make sure that he is acclimated.
Corrine isn't
Okay.
staying with Damaris at Colin's house, is she?
What's that?
Corrine isn't staying with Damaris at Colin's house, is she?
No, she's not.
I thought that might be kind of awkward.
No. No, I got to work on a new haven. As you know, the look from Adam.
So with that being said,
other than basically just that's it.
okay, yeah, not a problem. So with that being said, eventually everybody shows up. Robert and Henri are the last to show because he did a little bit of late, early night snacking before coming. So by the time everybody gets there, it's almost 9. 8:45 ish, right around that time frame. It looks the same way as when last you left it, except it's been cleaned, obviously, from daylight crew and whatnot. Take it away, Hesperia.
Oh, okay. I'm just as everybody's arriving, I'm just going to be standing in the corner. Just standing in the corner, not actually saying anything or greeting everybody, just waiting for everybody to file in.
Okay.
Thank you guys for joining me on such short notice. I guess you can assume that plans have changed. So I have I received a call from Isadora. We have a problem.
Oh,
So-
when do we not have problems?
Yeah. So she has some sort of friend that encountered werewolves in town, like here, like living in the city.
Oh Jesus.
Y'all have werewolves here?
Apparently we do.
Yeah,
This
they're a
is very
thing.
interesting.
Apparently they live here.
That's they're
Not
not
their
in the
peak.
city, are they?
Yeah, they're not. I don't really think they're supposed to be in the city, or at least so unannounced. But we've been given an invitation to go meet them at their club.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
That makes me nervous.
yeah, that gave me a funny tickle
Um,
too. Not in a good way either.
Who
maybe
extended the invitation?
maybe we want to meet them not in their territory.
That would probably be the safest idea. I mean, considering, but where at this point would you be comfortable meeting them at all?
Well, who did the invitation? Like, who did this come from? Like, this is so out of the blue. But you know what? We've been hitting left and right with surprises, so I mean, I guess I shouldn't be that.
Yeah, I mean
Shocked.
that's pretty much all the information that I have. So we have this invitation. I know the name of the club. I know that they're werewolves, but I don't really know who is their leader, how many to expect. I mean, because clearly there's a few.
I think somewhere a
Sounds
little more
frightening.
public might be in order, where they're unlikely to start anything and we're unlikely to start anything.
Maybe instead of all of us going, maybe a couple of us go. So that way, if something happens, it's only a
If-
couple of us versus all of
If we
us.
if we don't come back.
Right. No, well, I tend to
And
I would prefer to err on the side of caution for us all, but we're still down and damaged, and we have less to our group than what we had before. So I'm hesitant to come off as disrespectful to
Okay,
an organization of people that I don't know how many are there.
this could be on the flip side, this could be a really good opportunity to form an alliance. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to say that we've got the backup of fucking werewolves? Like, that's cool.
I don't know that would happen.
I don't know. I mean, they
Well,
clearly have
let's-
been here for a while. They could have been here for a lot longer, just really not said anything, and we've had no issues. So why couldn't we strike something?
This
And-
could also be them giving us an eviction notice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like a
wouldn't be
plan
the first time.
to wipe out the kindred population in one fell swoop.
So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no right way in this case, in my opinion. Like, either they clearly already know about us and where we are, or we go to them. So I don't think we're in any good position, no matter what we look at it.
I would say that we stay together so that we have more power in numbers. I do not cherish going into their home per se. Is there another place that we can meet?
What's the address? Do you know this place?
I don't know the place, but it's called the Web. I'm sure we can Google it. I'm gonna pull out my phone and look it up.
Yeah. In fact, it comes up on a top search on Google. And the address, of course, it has the Google Map and whatnot that it pulls up. The building is the building that the ATF used to have, the one that has been recently rebuilt.
Oh dear.
Oh.
That is a very strange coincidence.
Coincidence indeed.
Well, do we want to head down there and invite them to come out so that we are not in an enclosed area where we can't get out?
Someplace easier to flee.
Says the Frenchman, waving his white flag. I surrender.
If I had contact information, I'd be happy to call ahead, but I don't. So
Is there a phone number for the club?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you have the hours and contact information pull up just like any other place you'd find on Google. And you hear a knock at the door, like against the glass.
what?
So we turn around and look.
Yeah. So it's a guy standing there. He's short, black hair, probably early 20s, maybe a little bit older, somewhere in there. Kind of rugged looking clothing. So like it probably not hobo. So I mean, if you're to gauge based upon everybody that's here, probably someplace between clothing wise, like Henri to Remus. So
Like a lumberjack.
not quite a lumberjack.
Oh.
He's not a millennial lumberjack with the beard and everything going down. In fact, he doesn't have any facial hair, but he does actually have some new boots. Has kind of a durable, thick coat that's seen better days. It's got like some patches on it and whatnot, like where it's been sewn back up or repaired or whatnot. And let's see who here. You know what? I think. I don't think. No, Rachel, you were there for that. So, Missy and Rachel, roll your wits and alertness. Difficulty 6.
How much like Michael J. Fox does this guy look like?
Doc.
I have one success.
Wow. 6.
Wow.
Holy
Okay. Yeah. So Hesperia is like it's one of those things like you know him, but you're drawing a blank, and maybe it's because Damaris is so used to staring at a bowl of water and just knowing information and whatnot constantly. This is Caleb. The last time you guys saw him was at the asylum when you guys were all captured.
Oh.
Caleb. Rachel
I'm gonna-
doesn't remember him.
I'm gonna go to the door and open it and say, "Young man, can we help you?"
Hi. Yeah. A mutual friend, Isadora, told me I should probably come down and maybe see if I can help or something.
Caleb?
Yeah. Hey. There's a lot of new faces in here.
Why does that sound familiar?
I must have missed out on like a lot of stuff. Hi, my name's Caleb, and he just kind of extends his hand.
I'll say. You've been away a while.
No, I have. I just got back into town like last week.
I'm gonna move aside and invite him in.
Yes, you can let him in. You can let him in.
And he just kind of waves to the other
Um,
people that he doesn't know.
Just nod
So,
my
guys, this is Caleb. Caleb, this is
the guys.
them.
The guys.
She's gonna say the guys. If y'all, I mean, he's, yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna.
was I was wandering, and I actually met because I know she told you guys about the werewolves that showed up. I was actually with her friend Joe when we met them.
Oh, you know Miss Joe.
Yeah. She's I think she's busy right now with Isadora. They're trying to help her. I think last I left off, like they're trying to help her with like hand to hand stuff. I guess she wasn't too savvy on that, so they're trying to help her with that.
Wait, so do you know what's going on with the werewolves then?
A little bit. I
Could
was
you
with
share some
I
of that?
was
Because
I
Jacob
was
got this
with
invitation out of the blue.
yeah I was with Joe when we ran into them. I guess they're new to the area. They are aware of the ones that are outside of town. And
There are more.
oh
Those are the
yeah,
out of town ones, though. That's what I meant. Like, they weren't exactly living in town. They shouldn't be living in town, but these are. I don't know. Sorry, Caleb. Go ahead.
yeah, no. The other ones are actually they're several miles outside of town, south of here. And he kind of like looks around a second, getting his bearings right. Yeah, like south of here, and they're near Immigrant Lake.
So
Oh,
you
I
have multiple werewolf friends.
I
This is,
I wouldn't say they were friends. They were the ones outside of town kind of tolerated us briefly.
The ones that you met, did they seem friendly or aggressive?
One was pretty quiet, and the other one was very talkative. He apparently wanted to meet the new neighbors, as he put it. So, and he's already aware that Isadora is here, and he knows that of you guys. I think, in a general sense, I don't know if he has any specifics. I didn't gather that he did. I think he was trying to, as he put it, how would I put this? It's trying to be a good neighbor, I guess, because they just moved into town. So, like, he's trying to offer the bunt cake, I guess. I mean,
But why does he know the history of the building that he's in?
I don't know. I don't even really know the history of it. I just know that it had a lot of damage to it here recently.
oh yes. So as a werewolf, I have never met a werewolf. So in my mind, the werewolf belongs in the forest, and they come in occasionally and easy people. But now we have city werewolves, and
Yes.
they're in the town, and that's
Yeah. Painwise kind of gave me the breakdown of that, I guess.
being wise.
Huh?
All these things.
Painwise is a friend of mine. He happens to be one of the band members of Paladin. He's in town with Isadora. I'm sure the others could get you caught up on that. But he clued me in enough to know that you're right in that sense. I guess most of them do like the outdoors, the closeness to nature and whatnot. But I guess there's a small few that like the city.
And they did not give you the impression of wanting to eat the new neighbors.
To be honest, it was just Joe and I. If they wanted to fight, they probably could have ripped us apart.
Very curious.
And they stopped us outside of a gun shop purely by chance.
Is this Painwise? Is this a werewolf too, or is he a vampire, or is he?
No. Painwise is a werewolf.
Okay.
He
Rock group heard. Okay.
yeah, I think he plays guitar for Paladin.
Okay.
Ms. Isadora keeps interesting company,
Mm-hmm.
to be sure. Well, does that change our opinion on making their acquaintance?
I mean, I think it does.
I
We
have to say, yeah, you all are welcome to come if you feel comfortable, but I'm
Let's
gonna
bring
go.
on the party. Let's make this happen.
I think this could be a good thing. I mean, we didn't have really any issues with the last one, so I think it's worth the meeting.
They're getting a little irritated, but that's a conversation for another time, from what I understand.
No.
Well, I think we can hopefully count on them to at least be on our side if anything like this happens again with blowing up buildings and us all practically dying. At least we'll have them on speed dial.
Oh,
They can
what you
come
mean
to the
the
party.
you mean the new people?
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
they can come watch the explosions.
And you guys don't mind if I like don't drink, right? I don't do alcohol.
Oh, that's
I
fine.
don't. I didn't know if I was going to like offend anybody with that. I mean, there's a bunch of new faces.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Okay.
We don't have alcohol here.
Well, no, I meant the club. I was assuming you guys were going to the club.
Do you think the club caters to our kind?
Probably not.
You know, I don't know.
So maybe none of us will be drinking.
Okay, fair enough.
There you go.
I'm gonna like look. I'm gonna I'll go over to Hesperia. Is Caleb one of us?
No. Wait,
Is he
out of
human?
character, I don't remember what Caleb is.
That's a
I
great
forgot
question.
too.
I'm pretty sure he's not a vampire, though. I think he was.
I honestly don't remember what he was.
He was the young kid, right?
Nope.
No.
No.
I'm just gonna say, Caleb. So what are you?
So he looks down at himself. I'm a man. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. A little sarcastic. No, I'm.
Not only, or do you have abilities, or you?
Yeah, no, I do. From my understanding, you refer to us as a sorcerer.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Okay.
But it's specifically, if you want to be,
He's like Colin.
if you want to be specific, yeah, no, like Colin. I've met him. Yes, like Colin.
You are a magician.
Dude, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I guess a more appropriate term would be the Nephite priesthood, or what's left of us.
Magician. That's okay for me.
No. Please don't call me a magician. I wouldn't call you a leech.
Oh, that's a bad term. I'm sorry. Is a magic user? Wizard?
That's a little too Dungeons and Dragons.
Wizard? Is that okay?
Sorcerer is probably about as close as you'd want to
Sorcerer.
go. Yes.
Sorcerer, I can do sorcerer. Sorcerer. Okay.
Now, I would imagine that, Colin probably doesn't care. I'm just sorry. I'm a little bit.
Colin's
I'm
MIA at the moment, so I mean,
I'm used to names. I don't.
No, it's quite all right. It's a learning experience for everybody.
All right then.
I have met as a sorcerer today, and I'm going to meet a werewolf as well. It's going to be an interesting day.
aren't you glad you came to this city?
Hopefully not too interesting.
I hope not either.
A few too many of those lately.
You're just a ball of sunshine, Henri.
I'm just trying. It's just Oregon is just so interesting.
Wouldn't a ball of sunshine for vampires be like bad?
Oh yeah.
He's new. He's new.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
I was like, "This is a sharp knife, your favorite one in the tool shed."
So, I didn't drive here. Does anybody mind if I like ride with you, like car share?
Of course.
Okay.
I have room as a van if that'd be sure. Okay.
I'm sure someone will be able to accommodate everyone.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
So, are we all headed down then?
That's
How
where
long
I'm
would
headed.
Okay. How long of a trip are we looking at?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, so easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we can file into the vehicles. I've got one. Henri's got one. I don't think anyone else has a car. Wait, has Marius sort of had a car?
I'm not a great driver either, though.
You just
Oh, wait.
She does have a replacement car, but I don't know if she really drives it. Yeah.
I don't want her to drive. You can drive. You can drive my car.
What, me?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Hmm.
I have a vehicle that you can drive. I just, if we want to get there,
I have people for that.
uninjured. Okay.
Robert and I will take our van. If anyone wants to drive with us, you're welcome to. You can easily seat 6 more in the back.
Oh, ride with you.
Okay, so
All right, so between us,
Damaris,
gotta cover.
Remus, and Henri all go in the same vehicle?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll go with
Yeah, I
Trudy.
think so.
Remus is like, I don't know, he scares me.
I also just had bad memories of last time in that van. Just like,
So everybody packs up, gets into a vehicle, and heads out. It's only about 20 minutes. Traffic is fairly light right about now. When you get to that building, and of course everything is now repaired. I mean, you've been down here a couple of times, but this is the building itself has only been officially been open for the past couple of days now. You can see at the top there are rotating lights that shine up, into the, like the spotlight sort of thing that rotate around and, draw attention. So they've got that going right now up at the, the top of the building. The parking lot is pretty full. And there's a good clip of people kind of coming back and forth, a lot more lively than the last time you were down here.
I'm going to turn to the other passengers in the car. I'll be like, do we bring is there weapons? A gun or like is a sword or?
I
don't know.
mean,
How
I
useful
don't
are
think
those
so.
werewolves?
I don't know.
silver.
I don't have silver. We maybe make a stop.
Nope.
Well,
We're just gonna have to wing it.
yeah.
I would not be surprised if they check us before they let us in.
Yeah.
Does it look
Probably
like?
better if we don't have anything.
Does it look? Sorry, I'm not in the car, but I'm not in that car. Does it look like the club is like open to the public, or like are there other people in there?
Yeah, no, it's clearly open to the public. It looks like it's on the very top floor.
Oh, okay.
So when we go up closer, I'll be like, maybe no guns. They have rebuilt this
I can't
building
address.
way too fast.
It did move pretty fast.
Yeah, it's about 15 stories tall. Very top, it's got the spotlights kind of circling around and shining up into the sky. It's got a sign that dangles down over the mirrors. It says the web, and it's done kind of like almost in this cyberpunk like type font. That as and it's the sign itself is electrified too, so it's like it kind of goes through kind of a blue and then a green, sort of almost like the electricity is pulsing through the letters.
Interesting.
And place.
Very snazzy, as they say.
As soon as we arrive, I'm gonna find Caleb.
Yeah, he's with you guys. Yeah, he rode with you.
Was he with? Oh, I thought he went in the other van. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he went with you guys.
And,
Oh,
I'm just gonna let him know. So go ahead and if you can make introductions, that would be great. Just make sure to stick around.
Yeah, no, I'm here to follow your lead. So if that's what you want me to do, then yeah, I'm happy to help.
Thank you.
So are we ready to go? Are we all here? It's kind of like looking around, at the parking lot. You guys can hear faintly the music, thumping from many stories above.
I'm going to tell Robert to
Amy?
stay in the van, watch your movie on your phone or whatever but to just be prepared if I need if we need to leave. But you can wait in the van.
Okay.
I don't, unless you want to meet a werewolf tonight.
No, boss, I am good. I'm going to get caught up on the Mandalorian. You enjoy that party.
Okay, so it's just be available.
Be ready for a quick getaway.
and I'm going to invite Seth to join us because I think this is going to be educational for him too.
Of course, ma'am. I've got your 6.
Good man.
So,
Monsieur Caleb, if we need to, if Robert needs to come, will I be able to have him come to come later? I'm just gonna have him stay in the vehicle.
I would imagine he can, just like anybody else.
All right, so he will just wait here then.
Yeah. Okay.
Lady Hesperia, to you.
All right.
So all of you walk up to the building and come up to the elevators.
Oh, by the way, I'm not wearing plague mask with this. I'm gonna look like a twist on Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay.
So
still looking like a vampire though.
Yeah, well, I've got black outfit, vampire Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, but it's not like no one would look at me and say, "Wow, Mark Zuckerberg's here." But that's the image I'm going for when I do the Mask of 1,000 Faces. So.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything in particular?
I'm gonna go for my standard target lady face.
Okay. Alrighty.
Karen!
So you head to the elevators. The elevator is only going up to the 15th floor at this point. All the other.
What I have is my cane sword. I didn't bring any guns or knives.
Okay.
Does that mean there's nothing else in this building?
No, there are.
Oh.
It's just the elevator. It's well, I shouldn't say there are businesses moving in, but right now, the only thing that's here that's operational is the web. And when you get up to the, up to the floor, I mean, you can already hear the music, thumping when you get within like 2 floors. The door, the doors slide open and walk off into the hallway where they start doing checks for weapons and ID checks and whatnot. Caleb steps forward and tells them that they're here to see Noah. And one of the things you guys notice is that all the security guards, they all have, they're all dressed very similarly. So like your black slacks, shoes and whatnot. But one of the things that they do have is they have leather coats, and it has the lining on the outside of it has kind of a red LED that pulsates through it.
That's cool.
I'm gonna be drawn to that. Like maybe does it go up the lapel or like how does it? They're just like
like if they zip it, it would pulse like all the way up, and then it kind of comes down around the arms, and then down one end of the sleeves.
It's leather work, so I'm excited to see it. Like I'm gonna walk up to one of the guys and just say, "Is this very interesting?" it's just go to touch lapel or go to touch the leather work that they let me.
Oh yeah, and he's like, hey, back off, buddy.
No, it's okay. It's just a little bit.
Admire from afar.
Okay, it's very nice.
Well,
Do they look like they're they've got guns in their jackets, or
they are armed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obvious. They're adhering to the local gun laws, so they're not concealed carry. It's noticeable on their person that they are carrying.
Okay.
So with minimal fuss, you do manage to get in. They do allow your sword cane in, just because it looks like a cane at this point. They don't pay too close of attention to it. And you go walking off, and Caleb is kind of like looking around, like it's clear this is not his scene. When you get inside, the interior of it is designed almost like you were. What's a good way to put this? It's almost like there is lots of shades of plexiglass, and then like right behind it are similar LED kind of set, but a little bit larger, and they kind of go in like certain artistic patterns, giving it almost like a Tron-like feel on the
I was
inside.
gonna say, I feel like I'm in Tron,
Nice.
the new one
Mm-hmm.
with the better graphics.
With the better graphics.
And Daft Punk.
And Daft Punk, yes.
Rumor has it they're making another one.
I heard that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm stoked about Jared Leto. But I'd still give it a shot. It's Tron.
Oh yeah.
It's shiny.
Yep.
I'll give it that.
So, but inside, and there are people everywhere. There's like a section where there's some tables. There's another section that's got a couple poles where they've got people on there dancing. They're in skin tight outfits that are also very reminiscent of something from Tron. Not exact ripoffs, obviously, but it has that feel to it. Like everything here is designed to kind of go with one another, not just your own thing. Like many clubs would be like, okay, well, it's about a club atmosphere, so you might have a different mix of skin tight or flowy outfits or whatnot. No, everything in here, if they're employed by the club, has that sort of aesthetic to it.
Cool.
And as you
like dance music, like is it like the rock techno
Yeah,
kind of thing? Or is it-
100%.
yeah, it's very much a kind of a Daft Punk EDM industrial kind of feel when you're in here.
I'm gonna kind of like bouncing as I walk along.
Trudy feels about 150 years old.
One second.
I like this scene. It's very nice.
Damaris feels like a very old hippie.
I like the colors.
And Caleb is, obviously uncomfortable. Again, this is not really his scene.
Like how old is the
We
people?
are all underdressed.
Like the clientele
Sorry.
of this place. Like, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, good. You're fine.
Clientele in here are your typical party goers. So you have some that are dressed kind of nice with like, the sport coat and button-up shirt. You've got others here that are, a t-shirt, slacks kind of look. But it's drawing from a more upper crust type of crowd.
Okay.
And I will send you the pictures real quick. So, two guys come approaching. Once you get near a booth, I just lost their pictures. Hold on one second. There we are. And the second picture of the two that I'm posting in the Facebook chat is the one that is identified as Noah.
I don't mind this at all.
Neither does Damaris.
I don't. Yeah. Okay, I'm
Hello.
not gonna say anything else because it's gonna get real rated R. Sorry.
The rated R superstar.
So Clint Eastwood's son and the devil. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Scott
So-
Eastwood. Yep.
So Caleb notices that they come walking over, and Noah has this, bright smile, and he's like, and he's snapping his fingers. He says, "No, wait a minute. I know, no, I know your name. I know we only met the one time. You, Caleb." And he says, "Yeah, no, you've got it." And he says, "Righto." And he says, "So, let me guess. You've brought the neighbors." And so Caleb's like, "No, yeah, some of them, yes. Joe, the woman you met that I was with, is currently preoccupied, but." And he kind of pauses. He's like, I didn't catch everybody's name. So this is Hesperia. So I'll let Hesperia do the introductions. And yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna walk up and I'm gonna grab Noah by the hand and like shake it real like aggressively, like,
Okay.
"How you doing, sir?" I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm sorry, at such short notice. I didn't bake you a pie or one of those niceties that others do for each other. This is these are my associates. This lovely specimen here is Trudy. She's the one in the pearls. This other lovely specimen here, that's a little more on the hippie side, that's Damaris. We have our friends Henri and Remus with us as well. I think that's it.
And he says, welcome to my club. Thank you very much for finally coming down. My name is Noah Vanover, and this broody, silent individual beside me goes by the name of Olchek.
Volchek?
Olchek.
Olchek?
Volchek.
OLC.
It is OLCYZK.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that. There we go.
Spell it phonetically. Just
OLCHEK.
Or sorry, it's OLCZYK. So I had the Z and the Y
Oh, okay.
incorrect.
Oh, well, that makes more sense.
I know, of course.
Jerome, this is George talking. Does Noah have an accent?
He does.
Do-
British.
Okay, British. Okay.
And he says,
what's the club called?
the web. And he says, right. So I did manage to get some potty favors for the rest of you, but I don't know if you have any peculiarities. I understand that some could be, well, I don't know what. I don't know the term that you're. Yeah, I don't know the term that you would use, but maybe it's the appropriate of the equivalent of lactose intolerant.
Feeding restrictions.
Well, that's a.
Particularities.
Don't you think that's a bit on the nose?
That's what I would call it.
But come. Please, and he makes a motion, and he says to another individual who comes walking up, average looking Mexican guy, a little bit on the shaggy hair side, but dressed nicely. Not like he's staff or whatnot, but dressed nicely. Got a nice kind of button-up shirt, slacks, wearing some shoes, but his shoes aren't dressy. They're more like New Balance.
Is he as hot as the other two, though?
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, he's just average.
Oh, okay.
And he
'Cause
says,
I wrote down. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of 8s, and he's definitely a 4.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, Gilbert, would you please bring us the tray that we had set up in the back? And he nods and goes, walking off. And he says, "Well, this is a surprise to have such distinguished individuals within my club. Thank you all for coming." And he kind of turns it specifically to Remus, and he says, "A coat, perhaps."
Sure.
Excellent. And Gilbert, would you get one of the coats for Remus? You said.
Yeah.
Okay. And bring a coat at roughly Remus's size. Something that says
Not
Cahot.
embarrassing.
Something that says, "I do have a home."
Yeah. Something
I
that
don't
says.
know if it's Australia. I'm like, we were invited, right? Yes? No?
Who were you saying that to?
I'm Hesperia. I'm like,
Oh.
we were invited.
Yeah, and yeah, we were.
That makes sense.
You'll have to excuse my my associate here was recently revived after a very strong brush with death. So do you know anything about this building that you're in?
Oh, so that's that. So that's why you have the scent of the grave. You'll have to pardon me. I wasn't sure
No,
if
that's
it was like
how I
a
smell.
thing.
So
That's
I mean-
a normal smell.
And he's just offended every vampire in the room.
Scent of the
Oh,
grave
yeah.
is an Axe body spray.
Now that's a little on the nose.
And so Gilbert comes walking out. There's a tray of there's a tray of shots of rather thick viscous liquid that would resemble blood. But the way the light hits the glass, it could maybe be a Bloody Mary. It's dark enough that unless you like,
I'm gonna take my pinky and dip it in one, and just like pick it up, take my pinky, and then put it on my tongue.
it's blood.
So I look at everybody else. I'm like, so it's blood.
Is it spiked?
You have auspex.
That's true, I do, huh?
Yes, you do.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Alrighty. Ooh.
This
You gotta pick a sense to augment though.
I'm gonna smell. See if there's been any basically kind of any impurities in it.
Sure, you can do that.
All right. So what am I rolling for that?
You are going to roll your since you're just checking for nothing supernatural. It's just going to be a perception and alertness check.
Lightness. Cool. One. 3.
Okay. Yeah, you're not picking up any like alcohol or poison or
Okay.
any sort of extra chemical scent or anything.
Okay. So then she'll down the drink then. Is it like a pint or like a point back or something?
It's equivalent of a point. Yes.
Okay.
So anybody who is down blood, who partakes, is up a blood point.
I'm gonna watch Demaurice to see what happens to her.
And I'll sacrifice.
Does she start to shake? Does she?
I do that just to fuck with him.
Are you okay?
She'd be like, and she's just like start holding her neck. I'm just kidding, just kidding.
She starts convulsing. I'm gonna pull out all the weapons.
Somebody grab her on the shoulder and be like, are you okay?
Oh, she's totally doing that to them.
Oh dear.
Have you attacked us?
So yeah, so they
Just kidding.
okay. Well, before things go too far, she pulls the just kidding sort of thing.
Gotta keep you guys on your toes.
This is uncomfortable.
Somehow the homeless vampire is not the most like the one who's like making our guests feel nervous.
And so, as those who can or do partake in the drink.
I will partake.
I will as well.
I will generously decline.
Right. Okay.
I won't either.
So you won't drink?
No.
Okay. So
I'd like to know where it comes from.
That's more for anybody else who needs it then. But he brings you out a coat. And it is like at least a light weather coat, new, from Carhartt.
Okay, it's not one of like the LED jackets.
No,
like that the guards have.
Yeah, no.
Dang.
Bummer.
It's a sad face.
Okay, yeah, I'll put it on.
So right. So thank you all for coming down to the, well, I can't say this is the opening night, but this is one of several since we've recently launched. And Caleb, you said there were. So this is the other group that you were referring to, and he, he kind of nodded and he says, "You'll have to forgive my ignorance. Obviously, we know little of your kind. You aren't the cultist puppy fuckers that think themselves in packs."
Puppy fuckers.
Puppy fuckers?
Wait, who's he talking to? Who's
Just-
talking to who?
He's just
About.
talking kind of in general,
Talking
like
about.
to the group.
Who identifies as that?
I believe you mean the
I'm not-
Sabat, and we're not that.
I'm
I,
not sure what you're referring to.
I have eaten a puppy or two, but they were monster puppies.
Yeah, if anybody's
We don't want to tell the werewolves you ate a puppy.
if anybody's really harming puppies around me, that's my hard pass. We're gonna have to.
No, that's a need. That has not happened in a long time.
Okay,
It's not a
just don't eat it
preference.
in front of me, please.
There are lots of rats in this city. I'm okay.
Well, I don't. Again, I don't know the names, so you'll have to forgive me. So, but
Well, is this
We're
an
not-
invitation as a werewolf? You would like to know who is fucking the puppies.
I'm sorry. Run that by me again. Out of character. What was that?
So, as a werewolf, are you inquiring who is fucking puppies because you were interested in fucking puppies? I'm not sure. Is this are you inviting or is it an insult? I'm not sure what's. I'm not sure with your idiom here. So.
Just be quiet. Just be quiet.
Here, have
Just
another
stop while
drink.
you're dead.
Yeah, he's like, he's just like, no.
Just stop.
Here, have Trudy's.
And Damaris is like, just stop. Just stop.
There you go. There.
Yeah. I pass him my bloodshot and like, here you go, Henri.
There you go. So,
When you're hangry, you're not yourself.
yeah, I know.
have a Snickers.
I think he's intentionally being like obtuse.
So then, what if you don't mind me asking? Then what exactly is it that you do or politically identify with.
Are you asking about kindred politics?
And he kind of turned and he looked at his friend and he mouthed sort of thing, and he's like,
Vampire politics? Yes. We are what they call anarchs.
that sounds dreadful.
We are a faction that prefers to rule ourselves.
Oh.
Yeah, you're English. You've heard of the Sex Pistols.
Why, we have jokes all around now, don't we?
What is the werewolf politics? Are there bigger puppies and little puppies within the werewolves? Like, how does this work for you?
Yeah, how many political systems do werewolves have? Should
Two-
we be
Let's
concerned?
get on that topic.
Too many to count. And we'll just leave it at that for now. But to put this into to put this into scope, my understanding is that you are aware of the. Oh, I don't want to use the official terminology. I might lose you. Werewolves outside of town.
Yes, we're familiar with them.
We're not with them.
Okay.
We gathered that.
Yeah, I assume since you were in town.
The city werewolves.
Yes, that's
Speaking of which,
a very curious thing. Would you care to elaborate on that point?
Oh, how should we put this?
Are you domesticated?
Henri, you need to shut up.
You know
Sorry,
Roll for a character.
there is an interesting joke that does go around with my kind about the muzzle. I could get you one if you so desired.
Oh, I know. I didn't like the muzzle. I chose not to wear the mask tonight.
Perhaps next time you should wear the mask then.
Well, you did start with puppy fuckers. Now you remember. So
So Noah, right? So
Yes.
can you maybe tell me why you decided to set up shop here?
That's actually a great question. I was hoping that we would come to something along those lines. My understanding is you had a run-in with an individual by the name of Maximilian.
Yeah.
I'm not.
In so many terms, or I should say, in so many. He is one of the reasons why we are here.
Okay, I do know who that is, but Trudy doesn't.
It was before Trudy's time.
Well, in a manner of speaking.
Besides that, that's obviously one of the reasons. What are the others?
Well, that is the one of the primary reasons. The technicalities behind it, don't know if would be very easy to explain. Let's just say that would be an issue where our country brethren and I would agree wholeheartedly on.
So they don't mind you being here, is what you mean?
Well,
On
they
that-
don't mind in so much as they don't exactly have a say. We don't. That's not how our politics work.
So they're not territorial over Ashland.
And he looks back to his friend and he says, "You know, I hadn't given that much thought. I don't think so. I think they. You work in domains, correct? Like you see things in a scope of sorts, like a domain. if we were to say that they had a domain, it would probably be the lake and the surrounding, the hippy dippy stuff that they have out there.
Hippy-dippy.
So does that mean that you are claiming the city as your domain?
For us, yes. But again, one of the reasons why we don't wish to, butt heads with your kind. Which, of
So
course,
you're
is,
trying
I understand it. That would be a bit alien, as most of our kind tend to go about it in the Jets and the Sharks manner as soon as one recognizes the other.
That was my understanding.
Oh,
I'm just going to go to the closest person and just say, what the hell is he talking about?
So West Side Story. It's like Romeo and Juliet, both like gangs in New York.
Oh, okay. I'm very familiar with the Romeo and Juliet.
God, I'd hope so. He says, under normal circumstances, we would probably be enemies. That's where my kind differs a little bit. Oh dear, this is going to be a bit... none of you are drunk, but with the exception of Muzzle.
What do you mean drunk?
You possess your full faculties, then, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to think so.
As much as we can.
Let me see if I can put this in a and his friend that has been with him the whole time kind of chimes up. He says, like a Cliff Notes or Reader's Digest, he says, yes, abbreviated form. I'm not sure just what exactly you know of werewolves or our motivations, but it borders on the religious, and that many believe, and rightly so, that we are Gaia's protectors. We see to the protection of Mother Earth in various forms and attack those that step outside the normal boundaries of nature. Under normal circumstances, undeath, it's not natural. It is outside of the boundaries of life and death as we might know it.
Fair enough.
But some of us have come to understand that not all of these creatures, such as yourselves, mirror the facets of the same corruption that we are fighting against. And he kind of looks again to his friend as if he's like, cringing at, trying to go deeper into this. And he says, so let's say, do we have any... Well, okay, so you were presented to me as a hippie. So you are, Damaris, you have some sort of spiritual inclination, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then you would understand, in the loosest terms at least, let's say spirits of the earth and of the trees and wind and your typical, your stereotypical Sally Struthers voodoo hoodoo sort of thing.
Eh?
At least into it's what's inferred. So our kind, we fight against that sort of corruption because that sort of corruption, it is real. So for example, when they say, this is so hard to do without previous knowledge. So let's say you plant trees and you till the earth. You take it back from dumped sewage or a toxic spill. That seems to be common along the coastline. That is sort of a reclamation of the earth spirits, I guess, if we could put it in such a sense. But what if I was to tell you that, much like the law of equal and opposite reactions, there is another side of that. When you see these toxic spills, using that as an example again, there are spirits that go with that as well. Spirits of corruption that kill the land and corrupt creatures and living things. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand. Everything has a spirit, so you guys deal more on that aspect as far as it relates to the. I don't know how to describe it. Like you said, the other side.
Correct.
Spiritual plane of it.
Right. Now, most of our kind, they don't differentiate between your undeath and these corruptible spirits. Hence, the bloodlust, battle rage that most of you are have probably encountered or have already heard rumor of.
So they see us as corrupt. You guys see us
Correct.
as corrupt.
Absolutely correct.
You said that it's like religion earlier, so it's like something as simple as good and evil. So like maybe like is it angels and demons? So like so that it's either you're on the side of good or you're on the side of evil. There is no in between. You're not picking sides. So you're just either evil or good in the minds of your brethren.
Of course, that in the truest sense of the word, and in some cases, some of our kind are even like that to along a racial line. It's complicated.
You say racial and you say religion. Is your factions? Do you choose them the way that someone would say, I choose to be Protestant or I choose to be Buddhist? Or when it's racial, is you're born into it, like I am Irish or the majestic French?
So then let me answer that with, could someone from Zimbabwe born in France be a Frenchman who happens to be a Protestant?
Yes.
There you go. They still have racial ties to the African continent. Their nation of origin is French, and their cultural upbringing is probably very similar, but their religion could be Protestant or Catholic or Zoroastrian.
Your factions, you can choose your faction. Then you're not per se born.
Some there's a rigidity to it, but we're kind of getting into the weeds here. I apologize.
No,
but that is why you are at the majority of odds with our ilk that lie outside of town. They see you outside of the cycle of life.
But your particular kind sees us differently.
A good way to put that. More along the lines, we have seen that you have your own mind about you. You are not unwitting slaves of this corruption. Often at times, the crimes that you commit, they're entirely your own. You didn't need the external source. In other cases, that hasn't been it at all. You're simply surviving as you see fit. You're not attempting to bend people to... You're not attempting to bend nature to your will or bulldoze... spiritual locations. Again, it is nuanced, but let's say it's safe to say that there are a few of us that understand the nuance.
I have a question. So when you talk about like the balance and nature and destruction of nature, where do people fall into that? Do you care that do you believe that evil people should be wiped out, or do you think that people are like us where it's just sort of part of the corruption?
Hmm. Again, that's nuanced. I would have to lean more towards their value. We have ways if somebody is actually corrupted to try and rid them of that. But in some cases, they may be too far gone.
See?
Which it would probably make more sense if I showed you, but we're hesitant to do so as of yet because we haven't come to any sort of an accord yet. And the last thing I would like to see is me point this particular issue out to you. Perhaps you run half-cocked into it and then suddenly become my enemies. Unwittingly.
What's your
Cocked is
situation
no
then?
way to go.
Well, let me see if I can explain this in terms that you would understand. So, if I understand correctly, and he kind of looks back to the Olchek, the guy who's with him, he says, you have some sort of creation myth, right? Like how you came to be?
Yeah.
The Lord, yes.
Okay. So let's just say through your creation myth, someone managed to find a way to cheat that and make themselves into you. Without any of your political accords or the training that I'm sure that the rest of you get, if any, and he kind of looks over at, Remus.
I mean, is there like an abomination you need taken care of? Like, because I'm honestly trying to understand why you're like tiptoeing around.
Well, I'm
what you
trying to
want.
I'm trying to put this in a term that it makes sense. And no, not an abomination. Good God, no. I would hope we wouldn't have one of those. But this individual, this Maximilian, his father was a rather bad man. Well, I think it's safe to say that he was heinous enough that he was hated by both our kinds. And he managed to, through some sort of heretical magic, to turn himself into a werewolf. And in doing so, he has taught others to do this. And this Maximilian that you encountered is his son.
And he's here in Ashland?
He was last seen here in Ashland, yes.
When was this?
I wasn't here for this, but if I understand correctly, some of you were. And Caleb, kind of nods. He's like, yeah, this was a couple months ago.
Oh dear.
What has Maximilian done?
Maximilian fashions himself as a big game hunter.
Well, those are always delightful.
And who or what is he hunting?
Anything that he finds powerful enough to test his mettle. Which means your kind, my kind, Caleb's
Does he hunt
kind.
people?
Hmm?
Does he hunt people?
No, I think he's given up on people. They're too weak for him. But he, from our understanding, he has received some backing of sorts. They've tried to keep it quiet, but our sources have managed to track it down and at least confirm some of the payment transfers. That he is currently working for a small Pentec subsidiary that has been set up here in town.
What's the name of the subsidiary? Do you know that?
We're still tracking the name of the subsidiary.
And what is it that you propose to do about him?
Well, for now, a good neighbor policy. I do not wish to wage war on individuals that I don't have an immediate quarrel with. As I tried to explain, we do see that even though that your undeath matches many of the telltale signs of what we would call the worm, which is the spirit of corruption, we understand that for the most part your minds are your own.
He mentions the worm. I mean, I don't have any, obviously, Garu lore or werewolf lore, but can I do an occult lore check to see
sure
if
can.
I've heard of the term before?
You absolutely can.
So just occult and what? Perception or wits?
Wits.
Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice. You actually have heard that reference before, and a lot of what he's saying, oddly enough, lines up with your spiritual understanding of being a Lianan.
The corruption and
Mm-hmm. Because remember,
all
the
that.
spirits that you deal with are not wraiths. The spirits you deal with are like animal spirits and essence spirits and like spirits of the land and whatnot. So he may be using a little bit different terminology, but it would be like somebody explaining the Bible to you in Spanish as opposed to English. All you needed is just kind of the transliteration between the two.
Gotcha. So what he's doing is going against nature, essentially. He's going from one extreme to the other, and because we're obviously corrupt in your eyes, then obviously what he's doing is even more corrupt, and it goes against the natural order of things.
In so many words, yes. There's also the issue of his father, and while his father is dead, nobody wishes to see another Samuel Haight rise.
Well, in a more immediate sense, I would say that if there's a threat that is mutually hostile to both our parties, I see nothing wrong in working together against it. If I don't overstep my bounds, Miss Hesperia.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. As long as we have a partnership with some mutual surveillance, I'm all good with that.
Did any of your other friends have anything to add?
This Maximilian, does he have a backing? Is there's a group that he is with, or he has members or minions?
We don't know the extent of his force currently. We just know that he is still somewhere within this quote unquote domain. And one of the reasons why we are here is to ensure his demise and the forces that may be helping him.
Jerome,
Yes.
Would I be familiar with Pentex?
Ooh. Given your background, why don't you give me a wits and I think you have finance on your sheet, right? So wits and finance.
Well, with the one, I only got one success.
Okay. So you have heard of Pentex, maybe not so much in how he's using the name, but Pentex is like one of those businesses, like when you look at General Mills on like a who owns what sort of thing. You'll see like General Mills, and you'll see like a ton of shit that branches off from it of all these other companies that they own. Pentex is kind of like one of those.
So I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about the significance
Yeah, other
of
than
it.
it owns a bunch of businesses, that's about it. You okay there, Todd?
Yep.
Okay.
Just
Something I keep muting myself because there's something in my throat.
the thought of Pentex just makes him sick.
Yeah.
If you read their book, you could understand why. They are nasty.
I wonder if I want to open that can of worms.
The WYRMS.
Uh-oh.
Pretty
Worms.
sure I don't want to open that one.
That's okay. It'll come up at our werewolf game. So
I mean, Brittany knows. Brittany knows, but Trudy does not know. You know what? I'll bite. So I'm gonna say, all right, back it up just a moment. This Pentex people, I've heard of them, but what do they have to do with this situation?
well, in short, Pentex is a large company that owns other companies, and at the primary control of Pentex are agents of the worm, agents of corruption. So they use
Oh,
their money, in power, and influence to cause damage.
oh dear. All of their businesses?
Yes.
Oh, you have got your work cut out for you.
That seems like a rather extensive network.
It is. So it is often one of the reasons why our kind will simply stick to battle the worm in all of its forms wherever it may lay, rather than question it. We, however, have taken a slightly different approach, and we will probably catch flack for such a thing and perhaps maybe some ire, but we don't choose to make enemies if we don't have to.
Your faction. So that just to be clear, is so if we were to be in another city and encounter other werewolves, is there a name for your faction so that we would know, like that the I don't know the Fire Lords they're the ones that we are that are okay with us. You know, is there a name for your group or the Vampire Electors or
Of course. I mean, I'm rather partial to Fire Lord Ozai. He kind of turns and he looks at Olchek and he says, "Would that make you Uncle Iroh?" And he's just like, ugh. And he says, "No. Much as it might sound easy to delineate in such a fashion, much like your kind differs from city to city, as do ours."
Okay, is there a particular name for your faction? Like, I mean, obviously we're Anarch. There's Sabat. There's Camarilla, which I'm sure you're aware of. Are there similar allegiances or alliances? that you guys have a name for? Like, what is your group align with as far as like not taking a stance with others? Anarchs? Are you guys anarchs too?
We don't have such political affiliations of that nature. Our tribe is what you would probably refer to that as, and some of our tribe we refer to ourselves as the Glasswalkers.
Okay.
Interesting.
You mentioned this worm. Is there other factions like that? Is like because you just this is the worm. They are the bad. So is it if everything is not the worm, they are just not the worm, or is there other terms that you use for that?
Oh, there are still other things that we might fight against that are not, as we would put it, worm tainted.
Well, but is there a grander word? So like so this is bad. It is the worm. This is good. It is not the worm. Is that what you say? Like if whatever's everything that's good is not the worm, and everything that is bad is the worm. I mean, is there?
Well, our kind are typically known for fighting for Gaia, which is a generalized term for Mother Earth.
Okay.
But
So
unfortunately, it doesn't break down directly in a corresponding fashion of this is good, this is evil. We have this is evil and everything else.
So it's worm and Gaia.
And we'll leave it at that, yes. I don't wish to confuse you with any more nuance than is absolutely necessary.
It is fine. This Maximilian, it sounds like someone that we want to go and seek and destroy. As far as our general practices, so you had inferred that it's okay for us to go about our daily business as we see fit, as long as we are not disrupting too much. Is that what I understand?
The way I see this working out is, as I indicated, a good neighbor policy. So, should there be anything that we might perceive affecting the other neighbor, that perhaps we sit down and discuss it first.
Right.
That way we don't step on anyone's toes, and you don't step on ours.
I'm fine with that.
Unless anyone has any objections, I think we can make an agreement.
Sounds reasonable to me.
How would we know? Looking upon you, I do not know that you are a werewolf. There's nothing. There is no sign. So, if I was to feed, and we are having an agreement with you and your kind. How do I make sure that I am not feeding upon a werewolf? Like, how do I stay away from your kind so that I am not feeding upon one of them? I would not want to break down some treaty that we have.
That's a wonderful question. My understanding is you do have ways of seeing, but you'll have to forgive me for not being a vampire. I don't know what that exactly entails.
Not all of us have that ability.
My guess is they have their own ways of avoiding being fed upon.
It's fair. I mean, if I were to start to feed upon someone and they start to turn into a werewolf, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to leave it alone. My mistake. I would leave you with
That would be a good indicator. But perhaps we should sit down and mark off some areas that are absolutely no go, so that way it.
As far as feeding.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be best for everyone involved.
I would appreciate that. Do not go in this area. This is a no feeding zone.
So I'm sure we can get with you later. Obviously, I don't want to just lay out a map and a Sharpie and start, cutting up the city right here in the middle of a club. That would look very awkward. But I'm sure we can meet again very soon and set down some sort of mutual boundaries and set reasonable expectations.
It's fine. I do not want to be the one to break the treaty. I'm not trying to set up the treaty. I don't. That's all.
Of course.
This Pentax subsidiary, I would be very interested to find out more. I run in a lot of business circles. Perhaps there's something that I can do on my end to aid in its prevention.
That's a good question. I hadn't actually considered that. And then the other guy that's, with him, Olchek, he's like, yeah, I can try and get her some cliff notes.
I'm
Or
gonna
something to help.
pull out my business card and offer it.
Okay. So, and he takes that.
I need to get some of those made.
Oh, you can speak to my assistant. Get you set up with those.
That would be fantastic, actually. It would make me feel so more official.
Business cards for a vampire? Like,
She is.
yeah, I am kind of a big deal, and I'm gonna hold up my badge. And it
okay.
says Baron.
So, what exactly is a baron to your people?
That's me. I don't know, kind of like I guess kind of. I've been taking the perspective that I'm some sort of a mayor or
So you're the leader.
a teacher in a schoolyard.
With Anarchs, it's more often than not sort of a shepherd of cats, as it were.
Angry cats.
In the Camarilla, the head of the city is called a prince. In an Anarch city, it is the Baron, but it is much less a rigid post.
I have been in both. The barons are much easier to work with.
Indeed.
I'm not much one for structure.
Much preferable.
I suppose.
Much less formality as well.
I suppose there's something that I'll have to study up on at a later time.
Robert has my business card if you would like my business card. I have one as well, but it has nothing to do with me being a vampire. It's for the leather work.
Well, it seems
It's got the fancy side on it.
The flashy jackets are very nice, by the way. Who does the jackets for you?
Oh, we had them specially ordered. So, was there anything else that I could to help any of you with tonight?
We're good.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm going to go ahead and provide my contact information. If you happen to see anything or hear anything, let us know.
Of course.
Ditto vice versa.
Absolutely.
I'm quite pleased that this could be a neighborly situation.
Well, that was the intention.
Much preferable.
Is the people working within your club? How many of them are the werewolves? Are there a lot?
There are a few. I'm hesitant to give out the exact numbers. You
Well,
understand
no, I'm
why.
not looking for the exact or for you to point out that one's one and that one's one. I'm not looking for that. I'm just wondering.
There are a few.
Interesting. Well, it has been a pleasure meeting you both, gentlemen, and your friend. There was a Gilbert that brought the jacket. They're very nice to meet you all, y'all.
And likewise, of course. Do enjoy the rest of the evening then, and I will take my leave. And he stands up and bowed a little bit to everybody that's there,
Stand up.
and motioned to Olchik to follow him, and Olchik follows.
Before they leave, I want to take off the jacket and hand it back to them.
Oh, they're like, no, you can keep that.
It's all right. I have my own way of dealing with corruption, and wearing a suit is not it. And I'll just leave it on the table and then just walk out with everybody.
Okay.
I'm going to turn to Hesperia. I like his face. I do. It's nice.
Yeah, I like his face too.
Damaris pipes up, yeah, me too.
We're outside, right? He's not like still just walking away.
Well, he has like extra sensitive hearing, probably. I'm sure he can hear us.
I did in my
Fine.
notes. I did write Noah
No.
dash severe hottie. So
It is a club. We're probably having to talk a little bit loud as well. So
Yeah.
That's when the music stops and you're like, hey.
Yep.
I really like his face.
Or like that Eminem song. It's like, oops, my CD just skipped, and everyone heard you let one rip. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and take a brief break. So if everybody needs to get any drinks or whatnot, they can. We're just about 2 hours in at this point. So I think we'll be back in about 10 or so minutes. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. And enjoy the tunes. We'll be right back.
Boom.
Do you think I'm crazy? I've done all this before. I'm waiting for the right time to change this even more. Losing is for losers, and that is not an option here. This is what I'm made of, and you
Of course, it's always about you, isn't it?
Like, just so I have places to display all my armor. Inspired. I mean, not just for that. My organs have to live somewhere.
I didn't really play very much Skyrim. I played the crap out of Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion I did not actually play, but I loved Morrowind.
I did like that one.
There we go. I had to unmute my mic. And we are good. We are back. Finish up this last little bit of game here. All right. Someone got an email.
It was all of us.
All of us on Facebook.
Ah,
Oh,
we're sharing dog pictures. And getting daws.
They're cute. They're all cute.
Okay, so that is wrapped. With that wrapped up, of course, Missy is checking on her audio. She lost it for some reason.
a Ventru question.
Okay, then true answer.
So I know a lot, like some people have feeding restrictions that are very obvious, like physical kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, not so much. Like, are we like drawn to the kind of person that fits the bill, or do you have to like, would I have to be like in conversation with somebody and find out that they meet my criteria and like is it?
They don't really elaborate on that in the earlier editions. I would say, given the fact that it is a supernatural predilection, that on some level you would there would probably be some sort of like, oh, wait a minute, that's probably for me.
Would they like smell better than somebody else, or just like have some kind of magnetism?
Probably some sort of magnetism.
Okay. So like I could be walking through a crowd and be like, oh, this person.
Right.
That one.
What's that?
That one.
I mean, like if I were to brush past a whole bunch of people, could I pick out the person that would fit my restriction?
I would say probably, given the fact that it's, but again, it's not something they really went into all that much, just that it was a matter of you can't drink from anything else other than this. But yeah, I would say that's probably reasonable, yeah.
Cool.
That there's something about it that you would pick up on.
And now I'm wondering what.
In a general sense, it's something that, I mean, like after having focused on that kind of like being able to identify that kind of person, it's probably a learned skill as well.
Yeah, it probably is.
Point. I mean, it's sort of a typical. I mean, a lot of them are similar kinds of people. Is what I would think.
Mm-hmm. Everything okay, Missy?
We lost our video.
Yep.
And our audio.
Well, it also switched because she turned off her camera. It looks like what it does is it switches that up. Yeah. So now Missy is Brittany, or Missy is Rachel.
And I'm
Todd.
And I'm,
yeah, Todd is showing up as Missy, and Rachel's showing up as Todd. But George and Brittany are good. But at any rate, so is with that part concluded. There she is. Hello.
Yay!
Nope,
Well-
can't hear you. Can see you, but can't hear you.
Oh no! And she's gone again. I think her headphones are off now. Oh, she's totally gone. She's in a reset.
Ah. So let's see if she comes through.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And see you,
I
but
still
we can
can't
hear
hear
you.
you guys.
Oh no. You can't hear us. She is not responding.
I can. Yeah, I don't see her. Hello.
I can see her.
Nope.
Now we can't hear her either.
Can't hear her.
We can see, but no hear. She's out.
Alas.
Damn technical difficulties. I don't know why it does that with her system. That is really weird. It just drops her off like that.
I want to listen to Daft Punk, but I don't want it in the background and mess up the feed. So I'm just in my head.
Oh yeah.
You know, I bought the Tron Legacy soundtrack, and I discovered I can't listen to it while I'm driving
Oh,
because
what
I become
Because it
very
makes you speed.
fast.
start channeling Jill.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well, it is in real life.
So
It's a good sound.
I'm wondering if she's rebooting at this point. Yeah, hang on 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, yeah, I'm having to join on my phone because Alistair pulled my headset out and now I can't get the jack to accept my like to outplay, so I don't know. I know. So I'm good on the phone though.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, but we can't see you.
No video though.
No.
I mean, if that's what we gotta do.
Oh wait.
Yay! I just had to do the phone thing. So.
You have a face.
Yay!
And now Jerome is back.
There we go. I was going to say, yeah, you're going to have to turn it sideways.
Okay. Yay!
Put it on
And we're
your-
all back in the same spots again.
Yep.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. It happens. But it wasn't her computer. It was her dog. It was
Yeah.
Alistair.
Well, I guess it's like it's a combo because the computer's jacked up enough that the jack is jacked.
The jack is jack.
Okay, so where we left off, that last little tidbit of the night had been wrapped up, and the rest of you are sitting, well, I guess exiting at this point as Remus did his mic drop with the coat. And that's Alistair.
How many-
That was them. Like, oh, you got us.
Robert, as we're leaving. I'm not really
Like,
good
that's
at,
Remus?
I'm not sure how long the text will take because I don't do like on the way kind of like OMW or anything like that. I do
Mhm.
full sentences. So I'm gonna let Robert know we're heading out to the car. To the
Okay.
van. We might be at the van by the time I finish the text, but
Yeah, I mean, you finish it before you get down, down the elevator.
You have 15 floors. Ready to go.
So you
Excuse me, Robert. Just
you,
letting
you have a
know.
few moments to get it completed.
He's like Captain Holt. He structures them like a letter. Dear Robert.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, the Penny Arcade guys did a vampire campaign for like a few
Mhm.
episodes. I think is it Seattle?
Yeah.
And their Nosferatu writes his texts like that, very extremely longhand, and it's delightful.
That's so cute.
That was a fun campaign. You guys should
I'm
watch it.
Captain Raymond Holt.
It was very fun. Go watch it.
So you guys get down the elevators. By the time you get down there, yeah, I mean, Robert got the message. You know, so he's pulling up with the vehicle, the van, as you guys come up, and so Caleb, it's like, okay, so I guess that went better than expected.
Well, nobody died. That's always a bonus in my book.
Was that expected?
And we also didn't have to pay any money or really go out of our way. So,
Or favors, in fact.
yeah.
Unusually
I got free blood.
friendly.
So if somebody can just drop me off at the train station or that train museum, I can just have one of the guys at the house come by and pick me up.
Do we want to go there and kind of discuss what we just discussed?
Do we need to regroup at the museum then?
Or just call it a night?
I mean, if we'd like to regroup and figure out what we want to end up doing with this information and maybe at least where our priorities lay, we should maybe have that kind of a conversation at some point.
Rather than in the parking lot, yes.
Indeed.
So, Caleb, your choice of vehicle. You can go with the ladies again, or you can come with us.
Okay, I'll just stick with the ladies then, since that's where I already was. It's so good.
All right, so we head to the car.
Okay, so then nothing else in particular happens. You just drive back to the train station, or the train museum, I should say. It's same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. I mean, you walk inside. There's turn the lights back on and whatnot, and Caleb just goes and finds a chair. Was there, I don't know, anything else I could help with or something?
How do we find this Maximilian?
That's beyond me. I don't know.
Do we need to find this Maximilian? It kind of just sounds like they're looking for him, but they don't really. It doesn't sound like they expect us to hunt him down.
Yeah, I'm under my understanding of our deal is we don't necessarily need to actively participate in any hunting, rather than just keep our eyes peeled and raise up the flag whenever necessary.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
I'm sure they wouldn't turn down any offers of help.
I'm sure they wouldn't.
What do you think about this territory thing? Obviously, we wouldn't.
I'm just surprised. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's only polite to not feed in someone else's property, so obviously their club is out of the question, but is there any other concessions we wanted to make as far as the city goes?
You mean to reserve as viable hunting grounds? I would think
that was my
park.
understanding. The park?
Yeah, was it Lithia Park?
What about Lithia Park?
They didn't say
That
anything about Lithia Park.
no, I know,
Probably
but we
recommend
were talking
staying away
about
from there.
reserving locations to not
I'm
or
pretty sure
to feed from.
isn't
Oh, yeah,
Lithia.
definitely.
What's wrong with Lithia Park?
No, I want to
Um,
keep Lithia Park.
Oh yes. All right.
Oh, okay.
So that
Well,
makes
Yeah.
yeah,
sense.
that just should be off limits to them. But I have to
Yeah.
ask you, like, are we just okay with these werewolves just kind of setting up shop in the city and not even bothering to introduce themselves first? I mean, we are still in control of the city, right? Like, did I
I
miss
mean,
something where they just kind of come up and just pop up a tent and they're just part of it now? Like,
well, in so much as I think that we don't necessarily have the capacity to stop them from.
enforce anything.
Yeah. And I think at this point, like it's the best path is going to be the path of least resistance, at least for us, until we get our bearings and maybe just get a haven to start with.
I
I mean,
concur.
we couldn't even really stop the government from coming in. I don't know how we would stop a bunch of werewolves from. I mean,
It's pretty
they
much
seem
just, to me, it's just saying that everybody who comes in pretty much just can do whatever they want. I I hate to say it, and I get it's because we don't have the manpower, realistically speaking, to stop anybody, and that's just that saddens me because literally anybody can come in now and just totally do whatever they want at this point.
It sets a bad precedent.
I mean, we're called anarchs for a reason,
Exactly.
right? Like, if people can't just come and do what they want, like, I don't know.
Reason, just like
But
any other place, like, you know, you don't shit where you eat, sort of deal.
Well, I think you all have valid points. On the one hand, Ashland is a special place because it's an anarch city and because it accepts wanderers. I'm afraid to admit that I'm afraid to tell you that your reputation has spread quite a bit across the country in that sense. But yes, at the same time, anarchs do have the fault of not having centralized power enough to really stop interlopers. So you're both correct on that point. And werewolves, I don't have a lot of experience with them directly, but my understanding is they're basically murder machines, and we don't want to get in a fight with them if we can avoid it.
no.
Maybe I'm new, so I don't understand. But like, what is the downside to them being here? I mean, they seemed amicable enough. Like, their presence here in the city. Like, what is the downside? Like, what are we looking at as far as being like oh no, now that they're here, more shedding.
Well, but
Huh.
in contrast, just
More shedding.
just a moment. In contrast,
Oh, okay.
one other part of Ashland's reputation was that when you did have interlopers, these Camarilla types, you were able to turn them away, and that is not nothing.
That's also vampires. They follow vampire rules. I mean, like, I'm still not really sure what the downside is to these guys being here, especially if they're
Didn't you
starting at the club.
Didn't you get the feeling like when we walked in there, this wasn't us as representing the city, visiting them, in that they were. I don't even know how to describe it. Okay, so basically, he was acting the entire time that we were in his city, not he was in our city,
Oh
so to
yeah,
speak.
100%.
So we were completely in his zone and his space. And I get that it was his club, but he wasn't presuming that it was just the club. The feeling that I got was that this was his city now.
And that's why I
Not,
was so offended at the
yes.
beginning. I mean, the whole little puppy fucker comment was he was intentionally trying to see what he could get away with saying to us, and it's just, it wasn't like it was. I mean, I don't know. Truly a pissing contest of just I'm going to just to see what happens. So, and we have no real recourse. We have no strength to be able to, you know.
If they had meant us ill, I think we would have been in a world of hurt. That is,
I do agree. I mean, they're not there, but I think they're not. They were not there to say let's work together. They are there to say this
They
is
were
the
just
new,
saying, hey, we're here.
yeah, this is the
Yeah,
new
this
way
is
it
what's
is.
happening.
this is what we're doing. Just so you know, please
Pretty
don't
much.
bother us.
Enjoy your new shit sandwich. Have a bite. So it's just
Pretty much,
mean-
because that shit with Maxwell is going to trickle downhill. It already has. Like, we're already dealing with him again.
Mr. Caleb, you had a comment?
Oh, well, it was more to the why there was a potential detriment. I mean I don't know if there's a detriment, but you have to forgive me. I'm not up on werewolves and whatnot like Painwise is, but if they do show up and if they do decide to be a problem, or if it turns out that their business isn't aligned with what you guys have envisioned, that's one more problem to deal with. I guess that's my take on what it is that they're doing. Aside from that, Maxwell or Maximilian's everybody's problem. They're not here just for that. I mean, I got captured by him. Some of you guys got captured by him. I mean, that's how we met. He's not satisfied until he has, more mantles up on his wall, I guess, or whatever big game he's hunting. So it's going to be a problem for everybody. Maybe this didn't go the way everybody wanted it to, because I got the impression it sounded like you guys were talking two different languages, even though it was all English, I think. But maybe that could be revisited when you guys were trying to do the whole, no-go zones. I mean, don't you guys have like a masquerade or something that, like secretive society stuff that you're not supposed to be talking like about the thing in public?
And you're saying they have the same sort of thing, and that's why we were.
Oh, I know that. I know they have the same sort of thing. Painwise has actually talked to me about that. I think it's more supernatural, though, from what he told me. It doesn't sound like it's like a just a rule. I'm not affected by it, but I know that when they, rage out and whatnot, there's something that werewolves do that trigger in the mind of a regular person that freaks them out and makes them forget they were there or didn't believe what they saw.
Wouldn't that be useful?
yeah.
Now,
I just know about that from Painwise. I know that that's a thing. So maybe this is something you guys can revisit when you talk to them again about, the mutual boundaries and whatnot.
This business that you had with Maximilian, for those of us who weren't here, can you elaborate on what exactly happened?
He put us all in a death trap.
How did you get out?
We all had to work together to figure it out. And not all of us did make it out.
It wasn't a
This
great
was the
night.
asylum, right?
Yeah, it was the asylum.
Okay. Yeah. Rachel's trying to remember as well. Okay. Yeah. So we
And
barely escaped the asylum.
and they were forced to escape during the day. So
dear.
they had not only were they all lethargic because it's obviously not a time when vampires are supposed to be awake, but there were breaks in the walls and whatnot. We couldn't take the obvious route because it was completely open to sunlight.
Oh, that sounds like a terrible time.
Yeah.
On top of that, there
Yeah,
were
you
booby
guys-
traps.
Let's get the aftermath. Mhm.
But
Like-
we also ended up meeting Billy, which is how we met the werewolves that are outside of town.
Who's Billy?
Billy is okay. I should probably talk about this then too. You guys may want to talk to Isadora and Painwise, but Billy is Billy's a kid. I think he's 16 ish, maybe almost 17. He was with us there. He got captured, and we went to, when we got everybody out, we went to Isadora's place to lay low and wait until the sun went down and whatnot. And Painwise knew of I think they called him a sept. I think that was the term he used. I can't really remember. But the ones outside of town in the south, we needed a place for Billy to basically grow up and kind of find his way, I guess would be a good way to put it. Nearest I can equate that to is like when you guys first become what you are, you need somebody there to kind of walk you through the process and let you know what changes
So like a
are
mentor.
about. Yeah, but obviously more on a supernatural level, like kind of like what you guys are used to. He needed something of the same. Because he's actually a werewolf as well, and they took him to that place, and they agreed to take him in. They were not happy with really any of us because we had vampires with us, and they weren't happy with Painwise because Painwise, as he told me, is what's called a Ronin, and the nearest I can equate that to is like your guys clanless, but
Get it.
not by accident. Like somebody, like, I don't know all your clans. I know clans are a thing, but like, say for example, somebody was Trudy's clan and they just said, forget it, and walked away from that clan. So something like that, which is why I said clanless. I know there's a nuance there, but something like that. And they were unhappy with Painwise because of that. But I get the impression that Painwise did that because he's with Isadora. And of course, we've already figured out that they fight, which I didn't know this, they fight corruption and see you guys as corrupted, and him being with Isadora and Isadora being a vampire. And
So he was basically a traitor to his kind.
right. So to the point I was bringing up before we left, and I don't know if they've addressed this with you guys yet, so I apologize if I'm overstepping, but Billy's been sneaking into town kind of more frequently to hang out at Isadora's place.
Oh, well.
He apparently idolizes Painwise.
And
But Billy's a vampire. I mean, a werewolf, right?
Right.
So that's honestly none of our business then.
Well, if the werewolves outside of town get mad at the vampires, it's not going to matter whether it's Isadora or anybody. Remember what Noah just said. They don't like vampires in general.
So maybe we talk to Isadora then.
Maybe.
And Pennywise. I mean, if Isadora and Pennywise are aware of the situation, then maybe that is something that they can help with.
Pennywise?
Because he's
Pennywise.
Pain wise.
Painwise. It's just Pennywise, Painwise.
I mean, yeah,
Are they aware of the situation?
No, yeah, they're aware of the situation. And it's hard to say no to Billy, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I just got back into town not too long ago, but I mean, I get it. But that could potentially be an issue too.
So it sounds like we definitely need to at least have a brief conversation with Isadora.
Definitely a point to bring up, I suppose.
It just kind of
I guess.
just kind of bad timing, I guess, with the other stuff and Maximilian showing up, or I guess never having left.
Yeah.
So it sounds like our road trip is canceled.
Road trip.
Oh, that's right, Portland. And I made those arrangements too. Are we
Did you
putting that up? No?
wait? So
I'm gonna go.
you guys were gonna go to Portland?
Yeah. We were gonna catch up with some people there to see how everybody has fared.
Oh, okay.
Survivors.
Yeah.
Anything I can help with?
I guess just not right now, but I'll let you know if we do.
Okay.
We'll likely need some help.
Have your travels taken you through Portland recently?
Yeah. I
Do
mean,
you
I
know-
didn't stop, but yeah, I went through it.
Do you know what the vampire situation is there?
Well, my contact told me it was really bad. I don't know the full details. I know there was a whole lot of fighting. And last they checked, they haven't seen any.
Any vampires?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they know that there may still be some there, but it's like, you know, how did he put it?
Ghost town.
Yeah, more like walking down Main Street after a disaster, and just nobody's about. You know, people are around, you just nobody's about.
Sounds a little bit like Ashland, not too long ago.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, doesn't give us the answers we were hoping for. Did we still want to go up there?
I mean, you
At
guys
this
still got
point-
time. I mean, if you're gonna head out.
If you still have those arrangements made, if we have the time, I think we could probably do that.
I haven't canceled them yet.
Unless there's anything else anybody wants to discuss about our canine friends, I think we should probably make a move on.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'll be down here, but if you guys need me for whatever, just, you know, call or text or whatever. I'm staying at Isadora's.
I'm gonna pull out another business card and hand it over to him.
Okay. Ah, yes, the fabled Venture Business Connections.
Might as well.
And so with that, we're like right at 3 hours now. So we'll go ahead and hit pause here. And next game will be the Mad Dash to Portland. Similar night.
Dash.
Yep.
King of the universe.
Exactly. So I hope you guys had fun. Coming back to the game, and I think so. Since we are wrapping up, just to check, the 15th is Firefly, right? Which that's this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and that would make Cyberpunk the following Saturday. So that's what, the 18th?
18.
Cool. Looking forward to get back to that.
The next time we play is the 24th.
Yes,
Cool.
for Vampire. Alrighty. So thank you very much, everybody. I had a lot of fun, and we'll go ahead and sign off from there. Thank you. Bye.
Fun day.